We barely had time to unload the tanks from their train beds before Capitan Orlov gave the order to advance. You see, the Capitan has been newly appointed to our brigade after the revolutionary reshuffle. He's fresh from officer school and needs to prove himself. That's the kind of officer that usually gets you killed. The first contact we had was with some disorganized Spanish militia, who dispersed quickly once the few tanks we had combat-ready rolled into view. This, of course, led the Capitan to believe that we'd be in Madrid by the weekend, and he gave order to push forward, ignoring the sergeants who argued that we'd need to organize supply first, since the Spanish troops had little to no mechanization and weren't equipped to transport fuel. What made matters worse was the appearance of the French First Armoured, and Capitan Orlov was not having some Frenchman showing up. We managed to take the town of La Montaña before we started encountering the first serious resistance. There's a bridge about a kilometer north of the town, and if we had managed to get across, we'd have had open roads to the enemy capital. Unfortunately, at that point, what the Capitan wanted to be and the reality on the ground had drifted apart far enough that we could only muster 5 tanks with enough fuel and ammunition to move ahead. The Spaniards, despite being generally scattered and unorganized, had managed to pull up an artillery position on the hill overlooking the bridge, and we lost 2 tanks with their crews before we managed to pull back. At that point, even the Capitan had to admit that we were going a bridge too far, and gave order to retreat towards the last supply base. Problem, of course, was that the last supply base was at a railway junction 20 kilometers east of here. What did he expect us to do? Push the tanks? So we had to send out groups on horseback to bring just enough fuel forward to get us moving again. It's always the same, really. Officers looking for glory and strategic objectives, while us grunts are supposed to do the impossible. Situation report, Spanish Front, December 1936. General Boris Stefan. Initial attempts at rapid capture of Madrid after breakthrough have failed. Meanwhile, lines north and south have weakened. Situation near Cartagena is unstable, despite presence of French tank forces. Immediate objective is to counterattack enemy breakthrough near Cuenca and to secure a defensive line along the river north. Once supply has been secured, pivot south and attempt to encircle Austrian divisions. Large numbers of German infantry are a concern. And we are in combat in Spain, trying to push the Carlist forces back north above the river just to secure the supply position near Cuenca. I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly last time, but I did look it up, and that's how it's called. So we're holding the line, but barely. Sort of the north is kind of stable, but the south is worrying me that they might break through towards Cartagena and Alicante. The French tank divisions here don't seem to be doing an awful lot. And we have a fair amount of enemy divisions here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 German infantry divisions and 2 Austrians, which are causing us the majority of the trouble. And I don't even think we've seen support on the Carlist side in the north just yet. So securing the supply line here is first priority, and then we'll see if we can maybe manage, but I don't think we can actually manage to get through and cut off. Yeah, we'd have to break through here in order to cut off the Austrians here. But we might give it a try, especially that the French tanks are sitting there doing absolutely nothing, and we do have a supply hub here, which might help a little bit. All right, air has been redirected north towards the East Siberian air zone. And I think, there's actually nothing going on. So we can probably leave the fighter wing on the southern zone. The problem is the abysmal mission efficiency that we're having there. But we'll contest it for now. Our fighters are also very, very bad. So there's that. Which reminds me, we do have some air experience. So we may actually... We currently produce it. We don't have many factories on this, so we're not doing an awful lot. We're doing like 3 a month of these things. But we might actually go and at least design some slightly more viable aircraft. So what do we actually have researched? Let's have a quick look. The aircraft. So we do have the monoplane airframe. What we don't have, that's still way ahead of time. We're pretty much up to date with most of the technologies for the time being, so we can probably Probably take one of the I-16 and see if we can make that at least a little bit better. And we're going to replace that with LMGs. So if we put just LMGs on it, that's still a good thrust to weight ratio. And then we call that. We'll call that the I-17. There we go. We'll just go with it. And we can also assign a designer. Now let's have a look. I'm actually using the tactical bombers simply because I have some laying around and they have the range. But eventually I want to focus more on close air support this time around. So let's have a look at the things under this regard. So we have what are we using right now? The aerial supremacy designer. So they have, what do we get? Either air superiority +5 or range +10. Oh, range is important. 10% range must be nice. Air superiority and range, or air superiority and range. Okay, so it's so this left branch is completely around range, and the right one is attack or defense focus. Okay, so we get sort of two options here, but it's a pure fighter. It's a pure fighter designer. We have Skorost, which what are we using? Are we using both for the fighters and for the CAS? That would be just okay. That's just generally production focused. So that would be production efficiency cap. What do we got? Efficiency cap. That's cap, gain, okay. And then conversion, okay, for refits, and that's resource need. Okay. So if we wanted to go into mass production, and I'm thinking of quality over quantity here. And we have the mass fighter designer with Sokol as well. And this is something new and exciting again. Okay, so if we research construction or excavation tech, it'll decrease the design team assigned cost. My gosh, the connections between things here can be a little bit loopy at times. But mostly it seems to be production focused as well. No, I think. What I'm unfortunately missing here is a dedicated ground attack. But that's obviously the fighter designer. So we could run two different designers. But we'll stick. I think we'll stick with the one that we'll stick with the one that we're already running, which is obviously not making any sense for the close air support. So we'll see if they have a dedicated one. But I like this quite for the quality aspect. So that's the I-17. And if we compare that to the abysmal plane that we have, that's got like significantly more air attack. Let's start building these. Save that design, and the close air support. Obviously, this is interwar close air support, so we were going to have to start from scratch here with the basic small airframe. And we would put an engine on, and then a small bomb base generally would be the preferred. Let's see if anything's changed here. So that's 8 ground attack for 15 agility and 4 weight, and that's 6. Yeah, it's literally better in all. It's just a little bit heavier, but other than that, than the bomb locks. But other than that, it's literally better. So we'll take that and that on close air support just works within whatever the engine is capable of. Now, do we have a different? We have an experimental battlefield support plane designer. That might actually be interesting, because that gives us additional ground attack. I do want to specialize the close air support for ground attack, obviously, rather than building multi-role planes. So except for the range, and we do have some range in here, we might run with this one, because this has got some good ground, like 20% ground attack, increase air experience gained by 50%. Air experience is usually not an issue, so I think definitely we would go with this one. Yeah, that looks like a good designer to take for that. So we're going with the Ozoavia. All right, and that is I'm gonna have a look for naming schemes here and not just go with the standard one. Okay, that is going to be the Kharkiv KHAI5. I think that's probably the best designation I can come up with. And we've assigned that. We'll save that as well. And we have to rename this actually to the I-180 because that's the actual successor prototype to the whole thing. And there we go. All right, that means we can change these two production lines to the, I'm gonna have to reopen that, I think. So that's going to be the I-180, and that is going to be this one, and we're going to change here also the designer. Okay, we have no factories, we have nothing really, so we're only producing a very small amount, but we are producing some of them. And hopefully later on I will have some more success with the whole thing. All right, back to the battle on the ground where the tanks haven't actually reinforced yet. So we are gonna have to. Okay, now the tanks are reinforcing. I do have the 2nd Tank Division here, but do have to keep a very close eye on potential breakthroughs along the lines here, enemy breakthroughs that is. So right now. The idea is to push the enemy out, and we are of course very low on fuel and ammunition again. But we do have some aerial support here as well, and we've got both tank divisions now engaged, and they are struggling due to terrain and low supply basically. Okay, while that is ongoing, and the French are doing absolutely nothing to secure Cartagena, we have troubles at home. I'm not sure if the microphone picks that up, but if you hear a gurgling sound in the background, that is the absolute amount of rain coming down and flowing down the drain pipes outside. It's been very wet here. We have rising discontent. Chairman Minister Nekrasov's cabinet is increasingly coming under the fire from the public. While the political opposition is there to always ridicule the government, now there have been some murmurs even among the ruling coalition's ranks with varying doubts over the actions of Nekrasov's government. Just last week, 2 Duma members defected from our coalition party to the opposition, no doubt already eyeing the next elections. We are treading in precarious waters. The Emperor advised the cabinet to be very careful in our next moves, or he will be forced to appoint a new one which is able to both govern and has majority backing in the State Duma. I am not entirely certain what we're talking about here, because we actually have the PSR with 8%. We have a 38%. We have 38% in the cabinet. Not anymore. We just lost 5% and 2.5% base stability. This is less than great, and definitely works against my attempts at stabilizing the things. We are getting 10% base stability here, and we're working our way through towards a potential way to close this off, but ideal 50% stability would be extremely difficult to get to. We do have a bit more stability. We do have a bit more stability up here as well that we can potentially get. We need more than 30% support for the cadets, then we can address the people, which gives us 10% stability as well. So it's an ongoing fight here against the discontent. But at least we have 175 days now, and we do have to keep an eye on the promises of work, because I don't think we're going to get to, what do we get, 150 factories. That is going to be a tall order in a year, but we will see. We'll see how it goes. This is almost completed, and when it is completed, then we'll further reduce this. But I don't think we need to run another pro-labor legislation at this point. Well, we'll definitely have to keep a very close eye on the situation at home. All right, can we manage to push these Spanish troops out of here and then secure the lines in the north? That would be great, at least at the river. And then I think we may have to head south because we are losing the Cartagena line here, I think. Okay, last position to be taken, and we are finally getting some supply back. So last position to be taken. The position threatening Madrid. I was hoping to be able to encircle the Austrians here, but I don't think we can make that happen. We'll just have to keep an eye on all the lines and make sure that no hefty counterattack is happening. I was hoping to be able to encircle the Austrians. We might still be able to do that, but to connect from the south here, but it would involve another river crossing, and we're finally getting some supply back. Fighting with the tanks in hilly terrain is not ideal, but we are also having some infantry support here, so maybe we can manage to secure the line in the north. Okay, they have pushed the Austrians out here actually, so the encirclement's not going to happen. And hopefully, how's the supply situation here? We have everything connected now. The problem obviously is that there's too many forces and we can't take Madrid. Madrid would have been ideal as a supply hub, and there's no other supply hub really anywhere here, so pushing along this front is going to be difficult, to say the very least. So what we'll probably be doing next is, can we disrupt lines? I don't think so, because they have alternative routes. Even if we disrupt the railway lines here, they have alternative routes towards Granada, so we can't cut supply to the front line. Well, we'll see where we engage next. For now, we'll just have to stabilize the front here and get us a little bit more of a defensible position, and then we could try to attack Madrid from the north, because we do hold the other riverbank here, so we might be able to push through towards Madrid, secure the supply, and then hold the line there. But we will see. That might actually be the most prudent effort after we've done this. So we'll go for another attempt on Madrid. Anyway, Bolivia. Nationalist coup in Bolivia. Angered by failings of the previous administration, a number of disgruntled army officers have launched a coup wake of the takeover called Return to National Greatness, and already there are whispers of figures within considering outright dissolution of parliament. The world is polarizing indeed. Now, there is an interesting potential here with Argentina, because Argentina has good trade relations with the Reichspakt. They have, from what we know, that's legation cities. Where was it? It's Weltpolitik, Fabrikarbeitsdienst. Yeah, the Argentinian trade agreement. So if war was to break out in South America against Argentina, that might actually be in our interest to weaken Germany there. But yeah, we're also, how's the war going here? Bulgaria is getting overrun very rapidly. So we will see if our troops still arrive here, but before things conclude. We will have to, or we may have to focus on the Western Iberian zone if we are pushing towards Madrid, which is less than ideal because we have, we don't really have an airport close to the front line. This is probably the closest to the front lines that we actually have. And we are contesting enemy fighters here, but we are losing badly because Bf-109s, the I-16s are no match for the Bf-109s whatsoever. So not a good fight to be taking. For now, let's push the Spanish back towards the north of the river line here. And then once we have that, then we will probably run another attempt against Madrid. If that is hotly contested here as well, but that would be something. Anyway, back in, oh dear. They want a constitutional change? Well, let's have a look. It was hoped that with the new constitution, the 1923 anti-communist laws would have been repealed. The laws have never really worked in practice, and many argue that against Savinkov, the socialists were the only ones who seriously resisted the would-be dictator. Even some liberals have called for repealing these laws, arguing that Russia should already move on. The red traitors have been punished already. Still causing me some grief here, to be honest. Union to Revive the Republic. I'm calling that traitorous. An address with tens of thousands of names was organized across party lines. It is mainly supported by the socialists, but also has the approval of many influential names like Nabokov, Chakotin, and Struve. We could spend 75 political power, 5%. Okay, so let's have a look at our distribution here. Turn your back on a communist and he will shoot you in the back. Ah, dear. So we could get 5% stability. We would get some right-wing anger out of this, but 5% base stability, which is, and we still lose another 2 points of left-wing anger. Plus we've got the press censorship completing. So that'll put it down a little bit. Unfortunately, that is further increasing the popularity of social democracy and syndicalism, which is the last thing that I need right now. This is going to reduce again the popularity of these, but I'm starting to think that this is going to not get us to the 40% that we need, simply due to these things. Now, the other alternative we have is to maintain it, not lose another 4% stability out of that. I think the base stability really is something that I need at this point, because we are so low that things really are not working out. And we do need to get that up eventually. And the longer this stays this low, the worse things are going to get. And yeah, we also at some point need to get the war support up. Okay. With a heavy heart, we will repeal the anti-communist laws for 5% stability. That is going to put us back to 22% on the cadets, even further away. But it was going to go badly either way, just a little bit less bad. Okay, so let's get the. At least we're balancing things out somewhat. Let's at least make something happen on the ground here, and we do have to keep an eye on our fuel supply, because I think at this point we may get the Navy to actually stop exercising. We've still got 279 days, should be all right. Okay, we'll leave it for a bit longer. So we do we have air support? We should have. We should have green air over the zone. So let's see if we can manage to push the remaining. They have sent. Oh, they're sending in reinforcements. That's why. And we are getting pushed back. The front line is starting to crack here, unfortunately. How's the south looking? If you would just dig in and stop running suicidal attacks into enemy fortifications, that would be much appreciated. But okay, maybe the front line is holding just about here. So let's get this Spanish division pushed out, and then hopefully we'll have this line secured here, and we can run another attempt at Madrid. Okay, division has arrived in Serbia. So these are the Serbian volunteers, and these are definitely not the anarchist volunteers. My goodness. Spanish volunteers, please. There we go. We are supporting this out of political expediency. All right, so this group is going to be the first group, and we have a single mountain division. That is going to be the second group. So where can we effectively deploy this division? Do we have access to air bases? We do not. Okay, so we've got a single mountain division. We'll use whatever we have available. Let's get Wrangel actually on this. He has nothing else to do. And we do have Drozdowski, who is got some options here. He could become an infantry expert, or we could go with you know, I think infantry expert. Do I have? No, I don't have the command power to do it anyway. All right. So where can we employ these effectively? Let's see if we can. What's the supply situation here? Skopje would be a good target. Let's see if we can make an attack against Skopje happen. So let's deploy them to Pristina and plan an assault on Skopje. Okay. Meanwhile, in Spain, we are still trying to push that single Spanish division out and secure the northern flank here slightly, and then we will have another go at Madrid from the north. But the law on Russian freedoms is complete. All right, so 10% stability. Finally, we're getting somewhere here, and a lot of popularity of things has been reduced. Unfortunately, that is not getting us anywhere near the 40% that we need. So that's not happening. Do we have anything else which would help with the cadets? This would just give me stability, which is good, but we can't get the support for the cadets simply because too many events have gotten in the way. So we don't really have an opportunity. Change 3. Okay, market liberalism. Do we have anything on market liberalism? We do have a bit still. We do have these two would actually work, and although it does increase right-wing anger now, so we do have to be careful there as well. But none of these actually gets me towards dealing with that. I also don't know where the promises to labor unions are. I know where the promise of work is. We've got that mission, but promises of labor unions, we don't have that. So we do need any of the base ones here. This one is unlikely, I think, that we are going very far left here. I was more hoping to go in the middle, but 50% stability seems very far out still. Although we do get a bit of stability out of the various things that we can do here. Rural outreach. This doesn't really help us. Military spending quota. That's just production cost. This is useful but not helping right now. We could go down the Russian capitalism, which gives me 15% consumer goods factories, which is good, and 5% construction speeds, but doesn't help me with the current problem. This is all economic here. This is economic, and this is all economic. So none of this helps me. This one also does not help me at all. So we could do this just to get some to give us some political power gain and give us a bit stability back. But I don't see this is war support. I don't see how we can get to the party stability now, popularity. Now there is the this one here, but we need political power for that. So that might have to be the fallback plan. What can we get? Anything that helps with stability, really. The compliance gain. This is right-wing anger. Party stability modifier. This would give me a bit. 42 days. We also at some point need to do the third Europe. That is actually quite, and we might need to have to do these still if we're not getting the 150 factories in time. Okay, we'll do separation of powers. and just try to just see where we get at. Maybe we can get enough political power that we can start working there. But yeah, it wasn't enough due to the events that we did not get enough of the popularity. All right, they keep reinforcing this position, and we keep trying to push them out from there. I really would like to get my tanks a little bit reconstituted. Where's my air force? We should have. We should be able to. We should be able to get some effect on the ground here. And we're not shooting anything down. We're just losing fighters here, basically, in the south. So we might as well. We'll leave it on for now, but we'll see if we can shoot down a Messerschmitt or two at some point. But we do need to get the. Okay, why are you retreating from there? That is an essential position. North is holding. Let's have a quick look at Serbia. Troops not yet in position. Why are you all retreating from there and redeploying? That is the least we need. Okay, widespread strikes have ended. So stability 20%. We might have to go for the stability, honestly, because that seems to be at this point almost more viable. Okay, the Mingan insurgency has capitulated. I can't even remember which one that was. What's it looking like? Oh yeah, the Nanjing clique has actually, under German support, seems to have sorted things out here. A civil war in there still going on, but right now focus on Spain. And our desperate attempts to deal with our relatively unstable democracy here. Okay, I'm not sure why all these troops are suddenly abandoning the push on Madrid, but we will be needed there relatively soon, I think. So let's see. Yeah, they're all moving south. Okay, maybe they finally realized that the southern front is in trouble. And we really need to push these guys out from here and then redeploy north across the river in order to hold that position, because right now it's not even clear if we're able to hold that. But I don't want to lose the momentum here. We do need to get the Spanish out of this position, and they keep reinforcing again. But I think we've almost got... Yes, we've got them. Okay. So next up, new front line. We will have to support here, and goal is to take Madrid. So redeploy, please, to the front line. Alright, please hold the line until we get there. In the meantime, mountain divisions have arrived, and we will try. There's only one division defending in Skopje, so let's see if we can actually run this assault. The enemy does appear to have air support, so we will try and see if we can actually, with a single division, manage that push. Tanks have now arrived north of Madrid. And I think we are simply going to drive into Madrid at this... Oh, come on. Really? They're pushing us back here because... probably because of the French. I'm going to blame the French for this. How are the supply situation is dire? Why is this not connected? There should be a connection. Unfortunately... Does not seem to be. The problem is we take Madrid from the north, and since we've lost the southern position here, we're now no longer able to actually supply from there, which is unfortunate. But we'll give it a try anyway, and we will send the tanks in and see if we can manage to send one tank. We'll leave one tank division here and see if the other one can take Madrid, and then we'll see if that causes them some havoc. At least the northern front seems to be more stable now, so they seem to have consolidated some positions there. Unfortunately, they're sending reinforcements to Madrid. There's not an awful lot I can do about this. Oh, but fortunately, the militia is attacking. Okay, I'm gonna leave one tank division behind and just support the attack here. But Why are we so severely... Oh, Madrid's fortified. Is it? Yes, it is. Okay. We are probably not going to get anywhere. We might have to... let's ensure that we... let's ensure that we're not getting cut off here. So I'm actually going to leave that like that. We'll send one tank division back, and we'll have to wait for an opportunity to push into Madrid. Alternatively, we can try from the south again, but yeah, Madrid's fortified. I didn't notice that. Maybe that's also why our initial attempts were running so poorly. But we might have to try around south again, because we actually will have the supply lines connected if we do that. But then we'll have a river crossing, which is going to be even worse. Because we are out of supply in the north here, and we obviously are getting attacked now. So we'll see if the Carlist attacks in the north against Madrid are going to do anything. Meanwhile, are we managing to... I think, given that we've started leading the attack, we're now getting some support here. Despite the fact that we are getting bombarded from the air, unfortunately. We do have an opportunity potentially to take Skopje. In north of Madrid is not looking great. And yeah, we might have to attack that from two positions. So let's get the second tank division south, and then see if we can connect, not across the river, please, but like that. Yeah. See if we can connect. If we can reconnect, secure the southern flank here, and. If we can manage to reconnect. Yep, that's the Bf-109s shooting down our fighters here, and we are actually even struggling to defend ourselves here due to lack of supply, which is unfortunate. Skopje attack going well. That would be a supply hub, unfortunately without a connection at this stage, but it is a supply hub. And it looks like Bulgaria has counterattacked quite effectively against Romania here. So again, not sure how much we'll be achieving, but we are working on stabilizing the situation at home, and we're running now a counterattack south of Madrid. In order to bring in additional forces. Now we are no longer fighting in that zone, so we are going to send the bombers over to Western Iberia, which they don't even have the range, but they don't have fighters up in the air in that zone, so that should help us a little bit. We will see if we can actually hold the position north of Madrid here with air support. And Norway has fallen to the socialists. After winning the elections and forcing King Haakon VII to abdicate, the Socialist Party of Norway has today ratified a new constitution, which fully turns the country in a syndicalist state, like France and Britain. That means, they haven't joined yet, but that means the syndicalist axis is actually getting significantly stronger here. So... we may have to have a look at our policies there in the long run. Okay, first of all, however, we're trying to defend the position north of... trying to defend the position here, but it's actually significantly more difficult. Yeah, supply is the basic problem here, as usual. The absence thereof, rather. But yeah, we might not be able to actually hold this position near Madrid. Anywhere. Okay, they're almost in Cartagena, so this is actually getting... We might actually really have to redeploy south and assist here and try to break through. And yeah, and the Third International has expanded, so they now have Norway as well, the Reichspakt in the center. And things... okay, we have not managed to... We've been actually pushed back by an enemy counterattack from the attempt at taking Skopje. And again, the German Empire is fighting on the side of Bulgaria. So my decision was the correct one here, to support the other side. But German imperial troops are everywhere these days. We'll see how that works out. We get our troops back into position. Okay, but we are now managing. We'll try. We'll try once again to launch an attack against Madrid. Unfortunately, across the river line, this is not going to do an awful lot here, but at least we have supply from the south, and we might be successful here. And at least we've secured the northern flank somewhat. But I think the bigger problem is going to be in the south, where we are going to have to start, and our tanks in the north actually are getting pushed back. But we may be able to cross the river against that single defending division in Madrid. All right, expansion of the wild battalions. The autonomy and in many cases outright lawlessness of the North Caucasus, this area, has made the region fertile ground for militias. Actions of the Savinkov regime sparked a new series of conflicts in the Caucasus Mountains. Many separatist guerrilla forces never really stood down after the fall of Savinkov. The unrest in the Caucasus Mountains has led to explosive growth among self-defense groups loyal to the Russian government, or at the very least opposed to communist guerrillas. Many of these forces are the personal retinues of local feudal lords or mullahs, particularly from privileged groups. These Muslim units have begun to cooperate closely with their Christian counterparts among the Ossetians and Cossacks, and all have gradually come to be known under the umbrella terms of wild battalions. There's little doubt that this is a deliberate reference to the famous Caucasian Wild Division of the German War. Many wild battalion commanders are pleading with the federal government to do what the 1917 project failed to achieve. Organizing and expanding the wild battalions has widespread support, especially as violence in the region has spilled out of the mountains into the vulnerable lowlands and cities. Yes, another problem area. However, many army officers are loath to trust militias of dubious quality and argue that they would serve best as auxiliaries under the strict oversight of regular forces. On the other hand, leaders have insisted that keeping their independence, arguing the excessive army meddling would stifle the mobility and initiative that has made them so effective. I would trust the locals with this one. So, what can we do? Two things. We can arm them, or we can let Russian Russian soldiers happen it. So either we give them infantry equipment, which I don't think we have at this point, but. Or we can lose another 5% popularity. No, I think I'm happy to arm the locals. We have enough problems as it is, but we get the pacification of North Caucasus decisions. So let's see what that is. Where are they? Pacification of North Caucasus. Okay. Do we... not entirely certain what is required of me here. So we need 50 command power and 1,000 rifles. Unfortunately, we're currently training divisions, so we don't have 1,000 rifles. But this costs me 5% stability for 180 days and then gives it back. So I don't actually see what the benefit of this is. But all right, maybe somebody can explain that to me. For now, we'll leave that be because we have the secularization of the education system. First Republic had already separated religion and state, but also provided great freedoms to all religious institutions, including the freedom to maintain their own schools. This new law would forbid non-state organizations from maintaining basic education, while higher-level private schools would be allowed as long as they adhere to the education standards set by the ministry. In practice, this would mean closing hundreds of private religious schools, mostly Orthodox, but also some Islamic, Jewish, and more unusual ones, such as Steiner schools. Calling Steiner's stuff a religion, I probably wouldn't go that far, but Josef Steiner had some very odd ideas. From its conception, the law has received vehement opposition from the right wing in the Duma, arguing that it is restricting religious freedom and forcing many schools to be closed in areas where state schools are already overburdened. Professor Kaiserreich from the RDP has become the main face defending the law in the Duma, supported by his own party and the SRs, while cadets are demanding increases in state education funding if they are to support closing of so many private schools. I I don't mind because we have we have somewhat anchored the church as well in the constitution, if I remember correctly. So yeah, this is not a priority right now. Give me the 2% stability. Thank you. There we go. And that's that. Cadets are currently at 25%. So yeah, no, does not look like we're getting there easily. And the attempt at taking Madrid is still on the knife's edge. But yeah, we are simply not having the equipment, and our tanks get pushed back from the north. So meanwhile, the Guangxi clique has capitulated as well. So that's sorted itself out. So the leagues have won here, actually, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. And the Langguang clique in the south has won, and there's still a fair amount of civil war going on there. How does it look like over in Serbia? We might have an opportunity here. Yeah, the attack on Skopje is still... Might have an opportunity here for a counterattack. The problem is going to be supply in this area, because we are... where is the next supply hub even? There isn't any. We don't really... It's Belgrade. Okay, so that's not really helping anybody here in terms of supply. But let's see if we can manage to get the position, to just use the opportunity to push into this position here. I think with that defense, that is not going to be an easy one. We are now... we might be able to push through this, actually. We've got the 2nd Tank Division coming south, defending against counterattack. We may be able to take Madrid from here. That would be amazing. But things are getting heated in the US. Standoff in America. A tense standoff has erupted in the United States as General Douglas MacArthur and the American military have taken over control of the government from the elected president to, as he stated in a national broadcast, prevent inaction from leading the United States into the hands of radicals. From Chicago, Jack Reed supporters have declared MacArthur's government illegitimate, as have the southern supporters of Huey Long, based in Baton Rouge, and the Pacific governors under the leadership of Governor Frank Merriam. All have been given a deadline by MacArthur of 30 days to either stand down or face arrest and execution. Considering all sides are rapidly raising forces, the idea that America seems headed into a second civil war seems almost certain. Okay, so we once again have four positions. We'll see. I think there's still going to be some changes on the ground before the civil war actually breaks out, if I remember this. But do we want to get involved in this? I don't think we're going to be able to make a difference, to be honest. We obviously can't send any volunteers yet because, well, none of these sides actually supports the Germans, and as such, we may as well just not get involved, honestly, because we're probably going to be able to send one division here or something, so it's not really going to make a big of a difference. Yeah, the supply situation is actually really a problem here. Can we get these supplied by trucks maybe? And yeah, that works. Do we have enough? Do we have the trucks? Yeah, we have the trucks. So that should give us a bit. In fact, I should be doing that on the Spanish front as well. Let's get supply by trucks in, which works interestingly enough even for this is completely obscure, but it works even for we're not actually using any trucks, and it works for friendly for allied divisions as well, just because the supply hubs have actually shifted. So still a bit of an odd mechanic here. But I think we may be able to take Madrid here if things go well. And we are they're reinforced. No, they're reinforced. Of course they're reinforced. There's nothing we can do about it. At least we have aerial superiority, but I think now we are going to struggle making this happen. So I'm going to send the 2nd Tank Division north again and see if we can manage another attack from there, and see if somebody else can join actually. But for now we will actually probably have to defend the counterattack, which is coming out of Madrid, which is, von Manstein is actually leading that himself. That is still no opportunity for any good encirclements here, but with 2 divisions that's also significantly difficult. We'll see how that goes. We are well, let's send the 2nd Tank Division north again as well and get both divisions lined up here for an attack on Madrid. So let's see with actually truck supported logistics if we can manage to hold this here. And I think we're still too far out in terms of supply, even with yes, because this railway line here is not yet connected. Because we've lost the Cartagena connection. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, abandon this. We need to sort out the south, because I don't think taking Madrid is not going to be the be-all end-all of things. We are going to retreat from there, and we're going to have to clear the southern front lines, because otherwise our whole supply on the western flank here is going to collapse, and that is just not going to be something we can allow to happen. So despite the fact that there's a fair amount of allied divisions here, if the supply collapses, this is going to be terrible. So bring divisions south, and because we're about to lose Cartagena, and that means that we'll probably lose Alicante as well, unless they can start reinforcing that. So we are going to have to retake these positions. Okay, Ireland. What happened in Ireland? Okay. Elections, won independence from the British Island. Richard, having become the leader of the ruling party of Sinn Féin following the predecessor bungling financial crisis, was elected president. Okay, so all right. Well, let's see what let's see in which direction Ireland is going to move. We might be able to extend our lines here a little bit towards Skopje, and we'll see if we can manage that push. But yeah, the tanks actually need to at this point need to disengage. So let's disengage and then make our way south, because we are going to be needed there. And yes, they have taken the position, so we are going to try use what we have in the north and get the tanks south, which means we are now going to also focus all aircraft on the southern flank here. The problem are the German fighters, honestly, because this is not an awful lot we can do about them. Yeah, let's get the tanks to move south, and we will see if we can cut off, retake Cartagena, finally start destroying some Spanish divisions, and then we will see. Then we'll see what we do next year. But we do need to take a sizable amount of the southern half, and we can't leave that all to the Carlists, otherwise things are not going to go well. But yeah, the German divisions here are causing all kinds of havoc, and we have been pushed back once again. Into the defensive here. Skopje has been reinforced, so not... Yeah, Bulgaria with, I think, with Austrian and German help is doing relatively well. So we'll see how much we can achieve there. Meanwhile, this is almost done. Stability at 20. Let's have a very quick look. So this would require... we can still do the rural outreach, because that gives us 8% stability. This is going to give us 7.5, I think. So we're going to get to 32.5. This is going to be 8. So that's going to go to 40. Yeah, the 50 might actually be doable, the coalition of idealists. It needs one of the following. So we can still do the rural outreach. And then probably, yeah, this one would give us 5% base stability as well. Yeah, there are some left-wing reforms we can do here as well that would help. This one, that's just helping with the. Is there anything about stability here? Not really. They're all useful. But okay. Let's go through here. This would need 30%. That would have been 10% stability. That would have been actually really useful to take that or to run that while we had the stability, the support. Unfortunately, that was not meant to be. So, okay, we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, I will move the tank division south, and we will see if Marklik has declared war on Tibet. Yet another civil war in the region. We at some point need to sort out this trouble here as well. But right now we are just on the defensive, and I think taking Skopje is not on the cards here. So we'll just remain defensive. Tanks are moving south. Still, it's going to take them a few days to get there, I believe. But at least they can start reorganizing a little bit on the drive while they're refueling as well. More strikes, great. Last thing I needed, the Hui and the Buddhists. Yeah, that's Tibet. Not really going to be dealing with that in any way whatsoever, but Ural strikes is something I'm going to have to look into. Russia is no stranger to strikes, you don't say. With economic volatility, unions and employers often end up in conflict over wages. The Metal Workers Union has gone on a major strike lately, with the center of the unrest located in cities like Chelyabinsk, Yekaterinburg and Orsk. The unions are demanding higher wages to match the increasing inflation rates caused by our latest economic policies. The iron boyars of these cities have requested the government for aid, as the Metal Workers Union has managed to mobilize more workers than in all of the 1930s. Strikes in the metallurgy industry are particularly serious, as they affect various other vitally important industries. Most important, the armament sector. The strikes have received political support from the RDP, with Titov and his allies demanding the government to introduce clear legislation on minimum wages and increased workers' protection to ensure stability and peace of the Russian sector. All right, we've got this pretty well under control. We could run another one of these. Once we have 40 political power, that would also increase stability. But let's see what we've got. So national economy must take precedence. That is okay. That would anger the left-wingers, but give us 4% on the market liberals. That isn't going to get us to 30, so we can't get, but it is get us a little closer. We can get to, we can lose more market liberalism popularity, but get 2% stability, or we can lose. We can lose popularity and political power again, but unlocks labor negotiations. Promises to labor unions. That could be this one. Upgrades state economic committee. So do we have that? We do not. Is that one of these? It doesn't seem to be. So I'm not sure where we get that. But it would give us 10% stability, political power gain, industrial research speed, factory output. Sheesh, that is a lot. The question is, where do I get the state economic and labor committee? Because I don't have that spirit. So let's see if we can find it. What was it called? State Economic Committee. State Economic. Is it here? Oh, it's this one. Okay. So it basically would upgrade this significantly. This isn't actually what I wanted to do. I wanted to go this route. Because okay, let's have a quick look at. So I was planning to go the new Russian capitalism, because that's 15% consumer goods factories, but and that would go this way. This would be there would be an opportunity here to upgrade this. So this would. The question is, do I need to have that in order to upgrade it, or am I just going to waste it because I don't have this yet? This one, free state export companies. This is foreign capital and investment. This is New Russian Capitalism, and the Ecumenic Council, that would be just a political advisor, whereas this needs, okay, we can get here as well. So that would that actually changes my export laws quite interestingly enough. Either I'm losing popularity again, but I'm getting potentially. Oh no, it unlocks the focus tripartite labor negotiations, which will upgrade it. So this is a later upgrade. Oh, okay. So let's look at this again. Sorry for going slowly, but this feels like it's important. So this would add the State Economic Committee. That's 5% research, political power gain, 10% factory and dockyard. And then we get another focus. If we do this, we get another focus, which... no, actually, no. It just adds 10% stability. Because that's all, the other values are already there. So the State Economic and Labor Committee then gives me 10% stability. So I would basically get a little bit of stability out of this. Or we're just going to increase the popularity of market liberalism. We do have some more market liberalism here that we can use. And that would unlock the address to people, which gives me 10% stability. I think... we're going to anger the left a little bit, because the left is relatively fine at this point, and get me 40 political power, which means I could run another press censorship campaign, because that's going to take forever. I could run another press censorship campaign, potentially, almost, which would give me more stability as well. And it further extends the mission. So, we're doing that. National economy must take precedence. We have bigger problems right now. Okay, that gets us up to 29%, which means we can't yet address the people, but we can hopefully maybe do that soon and buy ourselves more time here. Okay. Meanwhile, while all of this is going on, we're just where's my division? Oh, here. We're just defending against at this point we're just defending the line, holding the lines here, honestly, while Bulgaria is making inroads into Romania, and this might not go the way we wanted it to go. However, this is a minor front. Even if Serbia loses that war, it's not the end of the world. However, what is going to be the end of the world is if we completely lose our southern flank here. So, quick redeployment, or strategically redeploying tank forces south, and then we will try. Unfortunately, this is somewhat hilly terrain, okay. We are immediatly going to launch the assaults and see if we can deprive the Germans of an airbase in Malaga. And okay, And the second tank division is going to do the very same thing. So let's join the assault here and see if we can make something happen while we are still holding the outskirts of Madrid here. And we're actually making some progress in the north. If we can weaken the south sufficiently, we might be able to break through that. The need for special mountaineer training. Yes, I'm actually going to go over here. The need for special mountaineer training of soldiers first arose in the 1840s, when the Imperial Army encountered the troops of Imam Shamil in Dagestan. Mobile and adapted to the fighting in the mountains, the locals waged an efficient hit-and-run resistance. Now the mountain units of the Russian army draw a good third of their soldiers from the inhabitants of the North Caucasus. Their main part has been serving as peacekeeping and garrison forces in the OSKB. The recent decision of the Stavka has changed the approach to the training of mountain riflemen in preparation for a likely larger war in Europe. From 1935 onwards, and I'm just going to open that here. I'm way ahead of you, game. From 1935 onwards, the mountain infantry and cavalry began to undergo training for combat, operation in rugged and wooden terrain, and division received new mountain guns and mortars and gear specifically made for military mountaineering. Because guns, or heavier guns and mortars, need to be actually carried into the mountains, which tends to be a problem. The new training regime emphasizes physical performance, which included mountaineering and snowshoeing. A notable advocate for the mountain rifles is the famous athlete alpinist Poruchik Alexander Ignatievich Sidorenko, a former Cossack who joined the Mountain Cavalry Regiment, a new school of military mountaineering and skiing. The Russia and the acronyms. The SHVAGLD was founded based on Sidorenko's proposal to the Stavka, with Sidorenko himself as the climbing instructor of the forces. Just a random thing gives me Mountaineers Doctrine cost reduction. Nice. I'll take it. Not my primary focus for military army experience at this point, but I'll take it. Talking about which, we don't have any land doctrines, so there is that is actually an interesting question. I can't remember if I can't remember what I was thinking. Grand battle plan would be my standard go-to, but I've kind of done that last time. Maybe mobile warfare for a change, but that's also not really what we're going for here. We could just go with superior firepower, which is no longer the meta doctrine, or we're going grand battle plan again. And simply just repeat it, because it is just so powerful if you fight defensively. And we might have to fight defensively in the beginning against the German Empire. So we'll see. We'll see what doctrine we'll take once we get to it. But for now, this is almost finished. We're almost at 40. Once we reach 40, press censorship campaign is going to kick off again. It's a cheap way of improving our stability, and we need to get that to, what was it, 50%. Okay, so that's work to be done. Second tank division is on the move, and we no longer get the effects from influx of capital. Okay, I can't remember what that was, but it's gone now. We still have the German economic influence, which we do need to do something about at some point. And now we are getting, both tank divisions are about to join. Unfortunately, I think we are attacking into contested air, at least. The bombers are helping. Yeah, we are not doing anything here in the air with these fighters. What's the production of the new one? The I-180s? Three a month. Yeah, that's going to take a while before we are going to see any significant numbers there. Let's see if we can manage to at least get the tanks to... we do need to get this radio research done. It's still 100 days away, but see if we can get the tanks to join. We cannot. In that case, we will just do this. And we've got some French support here now as well. The North is actually doing well. They've pushed out quite a bit after we've secured the lines there, and I think they are. Yeah, I think they're doing relatively well. So it's the South really that needs the attention right now. So that's where we'll be fighting. There are some Austrians here, and we still see some German divisions, but yeah, and we are obviously fighting the Germans now. Oh, that's why they're so powerful. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, They are... that's the German infantry division we are attacking here. Okay, what's going on? Manchurian curse, so that's over here. 10 years ago, in 1928, what began as an incident in the Chinese Eastern Railway became a full-scale military expedition under General Konstantin Sakharov. Sakharov, advancing boldly and far too quickly, haha, when have I heard that before, against poorly armed Chinese forces, eventually came to a halt before Mudanjiang. In the snow of the Manchurian winter, Sakharov suffered a crippling defeat against the combined forces of Zhang Zuolin's forces and the Japanese Chosen army, while the main Russian forces were only being transported to the east. The war turned into a humiliating, destabilizing defeat for the young Russian Republic. The defeat reminded many of the catastrophe of 1905 and was followed by similar political turmoil, culminating in Boldyarev's coup attempt, by Christmas purges enacted by Kornilov, and great loss of faith in the president. Many points to it as the beginning of escalating political instability, which was only halted by the election of Boris Savinkov in 1934, which then led to more political instability until he was violently deposed of. The Far Eastern frontier has been quiet, but a state of constant underfunding. While Japan is regarded as a rival, the budget never seems to prioritize these far-flung parts of the nation, even though the shortfalls of the Far Eastern military district were already seen in 1928. Yeah, we've got a few divisions, but nothing major there. So we can either just ignore it, or we can spend now 23 political power, get 5%. Okay, actually, you know what we can do? We run the press censorship, and then we'll take 3 fortifications and 5 army experience. There we go. And it's strengthened against uprisings. All right, so we are fighting. We are fighting the 113th Infanterie Division of the German Empire, which in the hills near Cartagena. We will see if we can manage to break through there, cut off some divisions here, and retake this, open up the southern border and retake Cartagena. And then from there on out, we'll probably just deal with the southern positions at this stage, and the north looks like it's actually advancing. So the Carlists seem to be running out of steam quite rapidly, and it's more the German-Austrian support for the Spanish Republic, for the Kingdom of Spain, that are problematic here. So we'll see how that goes. I think in the next episode, because we've gone through a fair bit. We still have the problem of the Union to revive the Republic. We do have to keep an eye on the promise of work, and I doubt that we can get. We are really not in a good space from that civilian economy. That's why I was so interested in the new Russian capitalism, because that gives me 15% consumer goods factories reduction, which is just gonna be huge at this point. Although this is really, really tempting. Not the problem right now, but we may have to, once this reaches, we still got about 150 days before we need to worry about it, but we might have to go through the economic ones here, which isn't a bad thing. It's good to get these, but first I need to deal with that, with the revival of the Republic problem, which is going to be actually further held back by the press censorship campaign that we're running. And but we'll eventually, maybe we can make it to 50%. At this point, 50% stability looks more viable than 40% support for the cadets. That would be 3 and 6. That's 9% actually. That would almost get us there. Get us to 38. So close, yet so far. We'll see. But I think we have options now. So once this is completed, we'll see what we do next. Do we do the rural outreach? We might do the rural outreach anyway, just because it unlocks all of them. And then we see either we go down this route, or we see if we can go here, address the people, And then we're working our way towards it, but hopefully it's already 1937. Hopefully soon we'll have that all sorted, because I really, really need to get the economy going and to get the number of factories going, because the German Empire, what do we know? Yeah, they have a vastly superior industry, and we also need to start working on the stranglehold of German capital. Bad things all in all. But I think so far the attempts, at least the attempt in Spain, looks somewhat viable in in strengthening the rear of the Third International, which hopefully creates a powerful second front against the Reichspakt. Anyway, that's it for today, and I will see you in the next episode.